In this lesson, we're going to introduce one of the constructs we use for repetition or looping in C++, the while loop. The other type of loop, the for loop, we'll introduce later. The while loop allows us to repeat a series of statements or a block while a relational expression is true. And so in this lesson, I just want to introduce you to how while loops are formed, and then in future lessons we'll look at two particular types of while loops, the count controlled loop and the sentinel based or sentinel controlled loop. So to demonstrate how the while loop works, I'm going to continually multiply a number by 2 until it reaches 50 or greater. So we're going to do that by first creating a variable to store our product. We'll just call that variable product. Now we're ready to start the while loop. So we're going to say while product is less than or equal to 50, and that's our relational expression. Then we have a block, which for this, I'll put it in standard form right now, then I'll modify that in a moment. Then we're going to say product is equal to product times 2, which we could also write product times equal to. Either way works fine. And then what I'm going to do is, just so we can watch the progression, I'm going to write out the value of product each time. So let's go over the key points here. The while loop has a relational expression. That relational expression controls the loop by saying, doesn't really say anything, but by indicating whether or not we need to keep going. So the first thing that has to happen is, for the while loop to work, this relational expression has to be true the first time the loop is entered. So first thing we want to do is check to make sure that product is indeed less than or equal to 50, and it is. We've set it equal to 1, or assigned it the value 1. So then we're going to multiply product by 2 and store it back in product and display it, and that's going to continue while product is less than or equal to 50. So let's run this program and see what happens. Taking a moment to compile. And so we see that product is 2, and then 4, and then 8, and then 16, and then 32, and then 64. Obviously just the different values of 2 to the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth power. The other thing we can do with the while loop, and this is just merely syntactical, but it's how I write my while loops, is put the opening curly brace up at the top just to save a space. And again, that's an acceptable style. The other important thing that you'll notice is that we always indent the statements that are inside the block, the while loop block. And again, that's important because you want the person using your program to be able to read and understand exactly where the block of statements is that the while loop is controlling. So that's how the while loop works. It simply looks at a relational expression and continually or repeatedly executes the statements inside the block as long as the condition or the relational expression is true. Once that expression becomes false, then the loop stops and we move outside to the first statement after the loop. And with that, we've wrapped up this introductory lesson on while loops.